Hello everyone, you're watching the Caro's Show channel. Cases of military failures and curiosities, unfortunately, are not so rare. Be that as it may, the human factor always plays a significant role in such a situation, but sometimes the technique itself fails. We have prepared for you a selection of 12 military curiosities captured on camera. Enjoy watching. Dassault Rafale. The French Air Force Rafale fighter left the city of Castellane without power by cutting off the power line. The incident took place on February 17, 2021. The plane that took off from the airbase was performing a training flight at an extremely low altitude. I was driving a car and heard the sound of an approaching plane. He was going very low. I looked up and saw the second fighter. He passed under a power line. As I got closer, I realized that the wires were broken, the mayor announced. Soryu. As Japanese media reported on the morning of February 8, off the coast of the Japanese island of Shikoku, a large non-nuclear submarine SS-501 Soryu of the Japanese Naval Self-Defense Force collided with the Hong Kong-flagged commercial bulk carrier Ocean Artemis while surfacing to periscope depth. The submarine received damage to the light hull, fencing of retractable devices, and horizontal rudders. 3 crew members of the boat were injured and were hospitalized. As a result of a collision with a submarine, the ship was practically not damaged, as well as his crew. On the Soryu submarine, the retractable radio mast also failed as a result of the collision. As a result, the boat could not report the incident for more than 3 hours. On the evening of February 8, the submarine arrived at the port of Kochi. FA-18. FA-18 Australian Air Force Super Hornet rolled off the runway without a crew. The crew of an Australian Air Force FA-18 Super Hornet ejected during takeoff. The cause was an engine failure. The plane independently continued to move along the runway and rolled out of its limits by 200 meters. The fighter was damaged. Prince of Wales. The newest British aircraft carrier Prince of Wales was unable to go on an exercise in the United States due to an accident that flooded the engine room. During the stay in the port, the aircraft carrier Prince of Wales had a rupture of the fire main and tens of tons of seawater poured into the engine room, flooding the electrical equipment. Water was pumped out only a day later. A 280-meter ship with a displacement of 60,000 tons is driven by electric motors rotating 30-ton mushroom propellers. In mid-December, Prince of Wales was scheduled to sail to the coast of Florida for joint exercises with F-35 fighters from his air wing. Su-24M. A Su-24M frontline bomber ended up in a roadside ditch after an accident near the village of Anacheno, Primorsky Krai. The plane was transported in tow along the Osanovka, Rudnaya Pier Highway. The driver of the Kamaz pulling the plane lost control. Because of what the 22-ton bomber moved off the road. There is no official information from the military about the accident. Obviously, the plane was sent for repair or disposal. The Su-24 was transported without a keel and tail with the wings removed. Su-27. During the exercises of the Ukrainian Air Force in the Riv region, the Su-27 fighter demolished a road sign with an air intake. The incident occurred on August 27 on the Kiv-Chop Highway. The plane practiced landing and takeoff from the highway. The aircraft with tail number 24 hit a traffic sign with its fuselage at a recommended speed of 80 kilometers per hour. You can also see how, before the collision, the plane hits another road sign with its landing gear. The pilot was not injured. The fighter was damaged. The sign, after acquaintance with combat aviation, is not subject to restoration. This episode of The Exercises was aired on the national TV channel. Bonhomme Richard. The amphibious assault ship Bonhomme Richard will be decommissioned by the U.S. Navy. The reason is the damage that he received as a result of a fire that broke out in June 2020. The landing ship, designed for more than 1,000 personnel, caught fire on July 12. Bonhomme Richard was then based in the U.S. Navy in San Diego. It took several days to finally put out the fire on board. The fire was extinguished only on July 16. Expert estimates show that the repair of the ship could cost more than $3 billion and take 5 to 7 years. In this regard, the Navy concluded that the restoration of Bonhomme Richard is not appropriate. Mi-35. An Mi-35 helicopter got stuck in the floor of a bridge while trying to be transported by the Transitional National Council in Libya. The helicopter was transported on a special platform, but they could not fly further than the nearest bridge. Not paying attention to the altitude, those transporting the helicopter allowed it to collide with the concrete partition of the automobile bridge, which led to jamming and damage to the Mi-35. F-16. A video of a risky landing of an F-16 fighter jet on a rain-drenched runway appeared on the network. The aircraft approached the ground with too much pitch. Aviators called this position of the aircraft framing, and at too high a vertical speed. As a result, the fighter hit the wheels on the runway and jumped. Gave a goat in summer slang, and then touched the concrete with the rear fuselage and elevators. The video shows a flash from the contact of the metal with the strip, and even some part that flew off the plane. Rubis. On board the French nuclear submarine, which is undergoing major repairs at the naval base in Toulon, a fire broke out. The fire began in the bow of the submarine placed in dry dock. More than 100 firefighters and 150 French Navy personnel were involved in the extinguishing. Fortunately, the nuclear fuel was unloaded from the submarine even earlier. Also, she no longer had ammunition. After the fire, French Minister of the Armed Forces Florence Parly visited the submarine. According to her, most of the equipment, including combat systems, had been removed from the submarine by the time of the fire and were not damaged. This fact allows us to hope that the liquidation of the consequences of the accident will not have such a strong impact on the timing of the restoration of the submarine. F-15. Back in 2019, a video of a beautiful maneuver of the Su-27 of the Russian Aerospace Forces appeared on the network. The plane drove off a NATO fighter that came too close to the government aircraft of the Russian Federation. The protection of board number 1 and other aircraft of the government squadron is one of the duties of the Aerospace Forces. In this case, everything worked out. The F-15 hastily turned aside and retreated to a respectful distance. If his pilot had hesitated a little, a collision would have been inevitable. A-64 Apache. An American attack helicopter crashed into a power line near Bavaria. From the strongest blow, the support fell. Another one was damaged. There was no major outage, but the electricity supplier noted a brief voltage drop of 110 volts in the network in western and central Franconia. The helicopter crew was not injured. The pilots landed in a nearby meadow. The police are investigating the cause of the accident. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to press a like button and subscribe to the Caro Show channel. Goodbye.